Hey guys, welcome to today's video. We are here to take a little walk down memory lane, and I thought that, with the Sephora Vib sale, the fall savings event coming up, that I would kind of do some Sephora themed content. Now I have to say, this is not sponsored. None of these are sponsored. Sephora doesn't know who I am, but Sephora, if you stumble across my content and you want to do some sponsored content, I am here for it because I am a huge Sephora lover. But I thought that it would be fun to go back to 2016 when I filmed my very first Sephora VIB sale recommendation video. All the way back in 2016. That is insane. Well before I had children. That was a long time ago. Anyway, I have some products on here. I went back, I rewatched that video. I'll link it if you want to check it out. It is Kelly from another time, but I am going to talk about the items that I mentioned in that recommendation video, and I'm going to let you know if they are still around in my collection today or if I would still recommend them. But first, if you're new here, hello and welcome. My name is Kelly and I love all things makeup and beauty. I love talking, I love makeup, I love talking about makeup. So if you like to chat about makeup too, I'd love to have you subscribe and be part of the K-Bella fam. Why don't we go ahead and jump into the video. Okay, two things. I'm gonna try really hard not to mess with my hair the entire video because I know that's really annoying, but I never wear my hair down. The other thing, I did scoot over and I'm gonna insert pictures because some of these products, although they may be in my collection in another capacity, most of them are not in my collection, so it's just easy to upload a picture. So my first recommendation was the Beauty Blender, the original Beauty Blender. Now let me tell you, the Beauty Blender is gonna run you like 20 bucks. Do I love a Beauty Blender? Absolutely. I do. I am a sponge girl. I prefer to apply my foundation with a sponge. I do not prefer a brush, but at the same time, I feel like back in 2016, Beauty Blender may have been like only one of its kind. I feel like Real Techniques had their beauty sponge maybe, but now I feel like there are so many more affordable beauty blenders on the market. The one that I'm currently using is discontinued from BK Beauty, which is really sad. They had their beauty sponges for $12, and so two of them would get you the price of one beauty blender, but I just prefer a sponge. Do I think you need to spend the $20 on a beauty blender? No, I think it's great. I still think it's a great way to apply your foundation, but I feel like you can find more affordable options out there now. So I don't think it's bad, but I don't know that I would recommend it. I think I would just say shop around and find a cheaper alternative. I also had the ABH Mario palette. Wow, the Anastasia Beverly Hills collab with Makeup by Mario, the Master Palette. That was limited edition. It released. I feel like it was sold out super quick. It might have even, had a second launch. And I loved that palette. I had it for a really long time. I just did a massive declutter. I don't know if I've already posted it, if this is going to come up first. I'm not quite sure, but spoiler alert, I do finally get rid of that in this declutter. I've kept it for so long. I loved it. I hit pan on it. I feel like the ABH formula back in the day in 2016 and 2017 and 2018, like ABH was doing its thing, right? Like everybody was talking about their palettes. Everybody had their palettes. That goes into the next palette, the ABH Modern Renaissance. I loved them. I loved those palettes, and I've just recently gotten rid of them because they're old, not because I think they're bad. I got so much use out of them. I still have the ABH Soft Glam. I purchased mine later. I still have it and use it and love it. I know ABH is releasing some new palettes. I have not tried a ton of the new palettes, but those old ones were classic, and I did really love them. Next up is a primer from Too Faced. It's like the Hangover RX or something like that. I went through so many of those, y'all. I went through so many of those primers. I use them time and time again because I do have dry skin, and it was very hydrating. I loved the way that it made my skin feel, but also there was like a gripping texture to it. And I honestly used it for years. The reason why I stopped using it in 2018 when I got pregnant with my daughter, because I found this website, 15 Minute Makeup, who had like pregnancy safe products listed on there, and that primer, for whatever reason, I don't remember why, there was an ingredient in there that she was not recommending for pregnancy. So that was the reason why I stopped using that primer. But you know, I would be interested to try it again. I'm very much into dewy, glowy skin, so I use my Glow Recipe Niacinamide Dewdrops at the moment, but I would definitely be interested to try that Too Faced primer again, because I remember it being very hydrating, but also having the tack that it needed to really give my makeup some long wearing qualities. I also had a Makeup Forever Smoothing Primer. I do not think that I would recommend this one now. I do remember liking it fine, but now I would recommend the Tatcha Silk Canvas instead of the Makeup Forever. I never repurchased that one. Like I said, I think it was fine. I used it up, but now I go in with my hydrating primer, and then I go in with my Tatcha, the Silk Canvas. I use the liquid. They also have a solid, but I go in with that in my porous areas, and I feel like that's more soothing. I just feel like it works better for me than what I remember the Makeup Forever to be. So not that I think that product is bad. If you have it, you may love it. Let us know down below. I just think instead of that one, I would direct you toward the Tatcha now. There are two products from Urban Decay that no longer exist: the Naked Skin Foundation and the Naked Skin Concealer. I went through so many of those. I think I went through 3 bottles of the foundation. I went through 2 or 3 containers of the concealer, and I loved it. It was very skin-like, it was light, it was hydrating. It didn't like give me any weird texture when I was struggling with eczema. It was just very comfortable to wear. Now it was very, very lightweight, but I wasn't looking for a ton of coverage. Now I go for more of a medium coverage, and if these products were still around today, I don't know that they would be my top favorites. They were my top favorites for years and years and years, but I don't know that these would be my top favorites anymore. And I'm a little hesitant to continue and give you like recommendations of what I would use instead. You know what? No, I'll give you recommendations of what I would use instead. I have another Sephora video in mind that I wanted to maybe share more recommendations, but it's okay. We can talk about them twice. Instead of the Naked Skin Foundation and Concealer, now I would recommend like the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk. It's a very expensive foundation, but you can get a smaller size. They have a smaller size for $44. It's hydrating, it gives me luminosity, but it has more of a medium coverage. And the concealer that I would recommend that I'm using currently in my collection is from Pat McGrath. It's her Skin Fetish Sublime Perfecting Concealer. It's hydrating, but it gives you more of a fuller coverage without settling into fine lines. So that is what I would recommend instead. Also in the declutter, I talked about the YSL number 10 lipstick. It's funny that I mentioned this all the way back in 2016. I remember picking up that lipstick because Samantha Ravindal talked about it, and it was like very baby pink, like very, very light, very baby pink. And I remember loving it. It was expensive for a lipstick. I remember loving it, but I definitely didn't go through it. And I saved it because of the packaging and because it was so expensive. And now I'm recently like getting rid of it. I feel like you can get that color like in other formulas that are not as expensive as YSL. It was very comfortable on the lips. I remember it was very hydrating, but at the same time, I don't feel like you need to spend an arm and a leg if that's the type of shade that you're looking for. Also going with lipsticks, the NARS Audacious lipsticks. I recommended Anna and Anita. I no longer have Anna and Anita in my collection, but I recently got Barbara, and those NARS Audacious lipsticks I would still recommend. They are full pigment, full opacity. Like one swipe, bam, it's there. You're going to see the pigment. You're going to be able to tell that you have something on your lips. It's very long lasting for a bullet lipstick, and I find that after I'm eating and drinking, I still have color there, which is what I'm looking for as a teacher. Like I don't have time in the middle of my day to like stop and reapply my lipstick. I can't just in the middle of my math lesson say, hold on guys, and like throw some more lipstick on. I don't think that would be appropriate while I'm in the middle of teaching, but I just feel like these lipsticks, they're very long lasting, they're high quality, they are a little bit pricier, so definitely get them on a sale. But Anna was a little bit more of a purple undertone, Anita had a little bit more of a mauve undertone, and Barbara is a little bit more of like a deeper nude shade. So still love those. Also with NARS, the blush in Lovejoy. So I had the blush in Lovejoy and I decluttered it. And then recently I wanted to get it again because I remember really loving that shade and I couldn't find it. So I don't know that NARS Lovejoy is anymore, but I would love to add it to my collection if it was. So I guess I can't recommend it. And I don't have any other NARS blushes, but yeah, I don't think Lovejoy is any longer. For perfume, the C perfume from Giorgio Armani, I recommended that forever and a day. I've talked about it so many times on my channel. I've loved it. I've repurchased it. I've mentioned before, after having my daughter, I feel like my body hormones, my pH, my pheromones, whatever they're called, changed. And so C, while it still smells amazing, when I spray it out into the world, I no longer appreciate the scent on myself. It's not what I want it to be. So I recommend going in store, but not just smelling the perfume in the air, also spraying it on yourself, because I have had scents that I have smelled on Smags and I've been like, oh my gosh, this smells delicious, and then I don't enjoy the scent on me. And while I was in my Giorgio Armani C phase, I had a couple of friends love it on me and then spray it on themselves and not like it. So definitely, if you're getting a perfume, spray it on yourself while you're shopping in store, walk around and see how you feel about it. The Purity Cleanser from Philosophy. Funny enough, I have one in my empties container. I'm gonna do an empties at the end of the year, and I have that in there. So used it in 2016, used it throughout my pregnancy and nursing with my son, and I'm not currently using it. I'm trying something different, but it's definitely an Old Faithful. The First Aid Beauty Face Cleanser. I remember going through a First Aid Beauty kick where I was using a ton of their products, and I remember this cleanser being good. I remember it, I think it was better at removing my eye makeup than the Purity. And I think that's why I switched over to the First Aid Beauty, because back in 2016, I was not double cleansing. I was expecting my cleanser to remove all of my makeup. Now I go in with a cleansing balm, I use my makeup eraser, I take off my makeup, and then I go in with a cleanser, but I wasn't doing that back in 2016. And so the Purity was a great cleanser for the morning time, but it wasn't removing my makeup. And I remember the First Aid Beauty was better at removing makeup. I have not used it in years. I know that it's a little bit more affordable. That was another one where I stopped using First Aid Beauty when I was pregnant because it was on that website that I told you about. So take that with a grain of salt, but haven't used it in years. The Fresh Sea Berry Serum. I remember having a little sample of it and I loved it. I would put it on my skin. I would mix it in with foundation. I do have very dry skin, so serums are great for me. They're super hydrating, but I never tried it again since. So I don't think it was bad. I loved it. I used that little container, but I have not tried it since. So I don't know that I would say that it's a recommendation at this point. I also have a Murad serum on here. I do remember purchasing this Murad serum. I remember it being very expensive, and I remember it being very hydrating. I remember liking it. But again, I didn't purchase it since then, so I don't know that I would call it a recommendation. Clinique Moisturizer. I went through so many of the Clinique Dramatically Different moisturizers, whatever it's called. I went through so many. That was my moisturizer of the day, of 2016, probably of 2017, probably of 2018. Since then, I have discovered other moisturizers, and now I'm down with Pharmacy. The Pharmacy Honey Halo, that is my jam. That is the moisturizer that I'm currently loving and using and going through time and time again. Not that the Clinique was bad, but if you are someone who has very dry skin and you want something that's really going to soak in and give you hydration, I would recommend the Pharmacy. I also have the Origins Nitamins on here. This was back when I would use Clinique during the day and Origins at night. And I think in 2016, I must have been in my 20s at the time, and now I'm in my 30s, and I'm not using a fancy night moisturizer anymore. I just use my Pharmacy Honey Halo in the morning and at night. I don't think it's bad. I mean, I'm in my 30s. Maybe I need to use a special moisturizer, but I find that I change up my serums. I'll use like a day serum and then a nighttime serum. So maybe I'm getting the same effect, but I don't have a different moisturizer at night. I also do have the Glam Glow Hydrating Mask. Do y'all remember Glam Glow? I talked about them one time in a video where it was like brands that I've forgotten about, and Glam Glow is one of them. I have not masked in forever. I have not. I don't have time to mask. At night, I'm so tired, after I've worked and then I've come home and I'm a mom and then I put my kids to bed that I'm like, I just want to go to bed. I probably should mask, but I haven't. The Glam Glow masks, they're great. They're expensive. You can probably get something a little bit cheaper that does the same thing, in my opinion. I also was recommending the Derma Doctor Eye Revenge Balm. I remember going through multiple of those. I do have fine lines under my eyes and like on the sides of my eyes, and so the Derma Doctor is like a wrinkle targeting revenge balm. It was hydrating. I was struggling with eczema on my eyelids at the time. This was helping with that. I feel like I remember using that one because it said specifically that you could use it on your eyelids, and I was struggling with eczema, but now if I have eczema on my eyelids, I just put coconut oil on it. So I don't know, I'm kind of at the phase where like, do I need a specific eye cream? Sorry, I'm shedding. I mean, I'm using one from Bobbi Brown, but I don't know that you necessarily like need an eye cream. I feel like you could just go in with your normal moisturizer, maybe like whatever serum, put it around your orbital bone, coconut oil, you know? So I don't know that I would necessarily recommend splurging on an eye cream, but I mean, what do I know? I'm just a 3rd grade math teacher. So that's it for this video. It was just supposed to be like light-hearted, fun, like taking a trip down memory lane, going back and visiting Kelly from 2016, seeing what I thought about these products now that 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 7 years have passed. 7 years have passed. So those are my thoughts. Those are my updated thoughts. I do have some more fun Sephora themed content coming. The sale is coming up. I will be shopping the sale. I will be hauling it. I have more fun videos coming. So definitely, if you enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up, like it, share it, the works. Make sure you're subscribed. That way I can see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.